I was just going to say, like, I think
I prayed for my
asking
wife.
God for, asking God for the right one is different than asking God for someone specific,
Oh,
Okay,
right?
someone,
there
right?
you go. Boom. Can we get
That's
a? You hit the horns, my nigga. Like,
yeah, that's different.
you're now tuned in.
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
You're now tuned in.
You are now tuned in
to the Juxtaposition Podcast. Welcome to episode 53 of the Juxtaposition Podcast, aka the Extraordinary Nobodies, aka the Starting Five, aka the Five Heartbeats, aka Four Hubby and a Guarantee. I'm your host, Varstinio Hall. Thank you, fellas. And we are here to amplify the voice of the modern black man. But before we start, definitely want to send a big hug and prayers to my brother, good brother Alonzo, who has he lost a very important family member to him this last couple of days. So, let's get like a little moment of silence for good brother Lucky, if we can.
Charles Lucky Rollins Jr., Harlem's finest.
Harlem's finest. Moment of silence. $90 what, Zoe?
92.
How old was he?
92 and like 3/4, because he was about actually longer than because he was about to turn 93 in less than 30 days.
He definitely had a four spades in his hand about to cut some books.
Yeah. He was on his joint. But you know what? I don't dwell in satire. I don't soak in pain. But comedy is my relief. So shout out to my grandfather, who is now in, as they say, the upper room.
Jesus.
Shout out to like he's in the upper room, yeah.
I so appreciate that energy, man. It's so beautiful to watch. And I appreciate it so much just to be able to, be witness to it, because you don't often get so much joy from someone living life and transitioning into their safest place, right? And we grieve all the time. And I love that you love that idea. I love that you fell in love with life in that capacity. God got you so hard, and whatever is the transition for you, and it impacted you probably the hardest. It's going to impact you in a great way, bro. And the fact that you can embrace life that way, bro, I think it's just a beautiful thing to watch, and I'm super honored and to be able to witness that. And our sleep forever in peace, to Uncle Lucky, and Grandpa Lucky. So I appreciate what you just shared, man. That was beautiful.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
But it was transitioning from that. I just got a chance to witness so much love this past weekend. Before we go any further, I just turned 35, and I had an amazing experience. Hosted by brother Zoe in his new home. His family's welcomed me with open arms. Zoe and I threw a 35th birthday party. Zoe's birthday is in a couple weeks. You kind of forget about the things that you do and don't need when it comes to community and space. And man, I needed that shit so much, yo. Like, it was way more than I expected. Not even like singling me out, but just the environment, the love, the camaraderie, just the itty bitty car rides me and Zoe was having, the conversations I was having with Zoe's wife and his kids, and the kids getting to know Tiff. And it was just like this whole beautiful exchange, let alone the party, man. So we had a beautiful weekend. I just came back from Jersey yesterday, and yeah, man, I'm on cloud nine because of that experience, man. It was an amazing opportunity for me to be there.
Shout out to Var, man. It was a blessing having you. And you know what it is? It is. We can single you out because you're not here, meaning like in the East Coast no more. So like that was like, to me, maybe sometimes I take it for granted because I'm around majority of the people that came. You know what I mean? So it was like I see them often, but it was just like old times. Like we did, like you said, the little car rides. We on the way to Wawa, Walmart, and just talking smack, or something stupid happened in the store. And I'm like, I know you've seen this, and this is why when I'm on a pod, I be venting. Like, what? So it was just like old times, but it was fun. We had a blast. Happy birthday to Var, his actual birthday. So he's really 35. I'm still holding on to 34 for a couple of weeks.
Got a couple more weeks.
That's dope.
Yo, that's cool. I got a chance to see that online, and looked like you guys had a great time. And I missed that. But I'm happy that all the smiles and all the memories of friends and time was filled up in that space. I'm happy you had a good time, both of y'all, because y'all normally do a celebrate the same birthday thing, right?
Last time we did it was 30. Yeah, right. Last time we did it was 30, and that was really, really planned. This one, it just kind of came together like fire. Everybody was looking real pristine in there, and they white ivory and bone.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
White ivory bone and tooth.
Not tooth.
Some niggas came out in tooth white. After coffee white.
I turned this mic off, man. But yeah, it was fire to be able to be in that environment and and check in with my good brothers.
It was definitely a great event, and we have missed y'all, Kev, Cleveland. I know we had some weather issues that would have prolonged your travel, but I definitely wish y'all was there. We definitely have to have at least one event where actually all of us are in the room. I feel like it's always somebody missed.
We need to do like a Friendsgiving or something, like one year, even if it's not this year. Like we should do something like that, man, so we can all get together.
We need to actually have an event where we can pull up to like a cabin or something, but we'll get there.
We're gonna plan it, right? Well, all y'all gotta do is cross your fingers for my little lawsuit. If that shit come through soon, I'll pay for everybody to pull up. Like, that's my word. I'll be like, this cabin.
Man, they owe you interest at this point.
Yeah, it's real.
So, but not getting too deep into the weeds, because Zoe going to tell you.
I was just saying, yeah, we're gonna leave that alone. But I was just saying, we do need the cabin joint. I know Kev and I had done the cabin joint with James, Devon, Chris. Like, that joint was fun. Like the Poconos joint, snow tubing, breakfast.
Also, nobody cares about this. This is a personal matter.
That was like a why did I get married without the drama though?
Yeah.
It was
a slight hint of drama.
It was more like all it was. This is before everybody was married. It was more like what those looks like. Did you beat like?
Not that one. That one led to my marriage, but there was one we did with being married, like the squad that we did. So,
but it wasn't no drama, right?
Slightly, not with. I would say it was internal with a couple.
I feel like I know who you're talking about, and we also had issues with. We also had some issues with this brother this weekend too. Anyway, keeping it moving. So this episode today, we're going to be talking about affirmations and manifestation. So we throw those words around all the time. Do they really work? Do we believe in them? But this episode will be successful if we can discuss our belief, not so belief in those. Have they been helpful for us? How do we adopt a mindfulness mindset? Do we practice those? Are they connected to goal setting, etc.? But you heard about Zoe and I. Chef Rico, I know you was down south. How was your weekend?
Weekend was spent. It was in Florida. Yeah, and family had a birthday, celebrated a birthday. Weather was cool. Labor Day. I like going to Miami around that time of year, Labor Day. Last calm, more grown and sexy. It was cool.
My weekend was straight as well. Not as fun and eventful as y'all's. I wasn't in Miami or having a white only party, but I was chilling at home with my wife.
Can you say all white, not whites only?
It was. That's what the invitation said, brother. I'm just reading the invitation. But it was cool, man. I just chilled. It was a nice weekend. Good weather though. Like the rain had finally stopped, so it was good weather over the weekend. So.
I was gonna let you finish and talk about how the invite. I made the invite. It did not say whites only.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree.
I'll put the invite on the Juxtaposition.Pod Instagram for those who want to know, just in case. I'll make it the podcast art this week. It's not.
Just make sure you black out my address because I don't want these Negroes knowing.
I'll take it off. If you're willing to put a wager on it, we can put a cool. I'll put how much a fitted cost these days? $35,
something like
$50.
Yeah, I was about to say.
All right. How about a cup of coffee?
I bet you Oakland A's
from Starbucks.
I bet you Oakland A's. It don't say whites only.
I don't know. Just agree to disagree. I don't think we need to put money on it. The truth is the truth. You know.
Yeah, I don't gamble.
I'm just saying. Right. But let's dive into the topic at hand today. Like we mentioned at the top, we kind of throw around the word manifestation and affirmations pretty frequently these days. The universe does all these things and everything happens in that order. But I wanted to ask y'all, first of all, when you hear the word manifestation, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Manifest destiny.
I mean, a dream. I think a dream.
A dream?
Yeah. I mean, you think or yeah, a dream. Let's keep it one word for right now.
Okay. How about the rest of y'all?
When I think manifest, and this is not just to be on brand or anything, I think God. When I think manifesting something, that's what comes to mind. God.
So
I would say probably creating, like developing, almost like a speak into existence kind of job. Like I manifest like that.
Okay. I like that. The first thing that comes to my mind is also like paintbrush, like you were saying, like to be able to make, whether it's through the help of God or through the help of your positive thoughts. But a lot of people substitute manifestation for prayer. Are they the same or are they different from each other?
I think we gotta go to our resident pastor on this one.
Nah. Go to him last because I feel like he may have an explanation for it. But
yeah, he's gonna break it down. Nobody can follow. So.
For us secular folks, for us hip hoppers, before we kick it to Perk Franklin, I forgot about that. But I forgot.
Sheesh. That was season 2.
Yeah, that was season 2. But is there a difference between manifestation and prayer to y'all?
No, I think they're all one and the same, actually.
Tell me more.
I mean, I think manifestation is not a destiny. First of all, it's a process. And I think prayer, depending on the person you're speaking to, because not everyone prays to a person or a spiritual person or a God or, everyone has different higher power that they have a internal intellectual conversation with, that they connect with. And that's part of the process of receiving the vision, then the process of actually having to execute the vision, which is a whole different process that requires a lot of prayer at times.
Right.
And it's a process. It's all intermingled, one form of it, of action. But it's a process. I look at it as being intertwined. All in all, it's the same.
How about you, Zoe? How do you feel about prayer versus manifestation? Are the same, or do you think they differ?
I guess it depends on how strong your belief is, right? Some would say they're synonymous in nomenclature, but in other aspects, I would say you can separate the two. Prayer is, to me, exactly that. I think it could be something separate. I think a lot of times we pray for something and then we put it into, I think manifestation is like the action part from the prayer.
Okay.
That makes sense. Like, so let's say we pray for it, right? And here's what a lot of people get like messed up with their religion, spirituality, or belief is where they think that the prayer is going to get the job done.
Right. I mean, same thing with manifestation too, though. They think that manifesting is just to think, and all of a sudden it produces itself.
Happens. Well, that's why I said they can be synonymous depending on like how you view it. But I think to me, manifestation, how they say infestation is like the act of developing something.
Okay.
Creating something. So that's how I look at it.
How about you, Pulpit Poppy, the man himself? Matter of fact, let me get you. How you feel about manifestation versus prayer?
So I think they're two completely different things. From the cultural sense of manifestation.
You going to the good book?
Well, no, I just think it's a difference. I look at manifestation in a different way than I think culture sees it. But I think prayer is a completely separate thing. To me, prayer is just talking to God. I think it's just that simple. Having a conversation with God, you communicating to God and God communicating back to you. And that always doesn't include things that you want. When you pray, prayer is not just about like asking God for stuff, right? It's not like, God, give me. Prayer is just, speaking to God and communicating, and God communicating back to you. So that's what I feel that prayer.
Let me ask you one question, because I've never heard that.
Mhm.
I've always heard prayer being referred to as like, yo, my man, please.
Yeah.
I'm in dire need.
Help me out here.
I'm down and out. Yo, what Charles Barkley say in Space Jam, God, if you get me out of this, I'll never date Madonna again. It's just trying to make sure that, like, to me, it's always attached to an ask, or every conversation with God, to me, is always been referred to like a conversation.
But I think the majority of prayers is an ask, and that's where people fail.
That's the problem.
You're taught you're supposed to also pray and say thank you, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but is thank you a prayer, or is thank you?
It's a conversation.
Do we go back to the question one more time? Repeat the original question.
The question was, is there a difference between manifestation and prayer?
Okay. I said all in one because it depends. Cleveland was making a point that they're different. And Cleveland, finish your thought while they were different.
Yeah. You didn't get to manifestation. You didn't get to the other side.
Yeah, well, I was just saying with prayer, it literally, all prayer is a conversation. I know a lot of people use prayer as a form of asking God for something. A lot of times you get caught in situations where it's like you need help. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna say this prayer, like, God help me, whatever that help is that you need. Right. But that's not really the sole purpose of it. Prayer is literally a conversation. When you talk to God, you're praying. It doesn't have to be a structured form or fashion that you may see on like some when you go to church or whatever. It's literally, you can just talk to God the same way we're talking to each other now, but respectfully, of course. But manifestation is something different to me. I think I've always viewed manifestation as like when your work and your efforts and your preparation align with God's timing. That's when things manifest. But what I see now, though, is a little different, because a lot of people look at manifestation as like a me thing. Like, I said I'm going to do this on this year, so I did it. I manifested that. And it's like, yeah, you did something. I'm not taking away from the fact that you did something. Mm-hmm. But to me, manifestation has a certain kind of like divinity to it, that like if you take away the God factor, then it's just something that you did. It's not necessarily a manifestation. That's my opinion.
No, and that's the purpose of me intertwining the two. I feel like it's all purposeful, right? Manifestation is a journey of purpose, in my humble opinion. And I think if it's not, and I use prayer synonymously because it's almost like it was a divine intervention that this was going to happen, when it happened, how it happened. And from my belief system, I feel like that only happens when it's, I'm not going to say it has to be pure, but it has to be aligned with the will. You understand? Mm-hmm, and for me, that's kind of where I see it being the same. Now, maybe this new generation is using it, the power of it, and I'm not going to say commercializing it in the way of it's like a hot commodity where it's like a get me out of jail free card type of thing. And or to Cleveland's point, using the planning and the action idea as a manifestation umbrella, which is not the same. I look at it like it has to be divine. It has to be something that's beyond what people can fathom, because it was purposeful for you and it was meant for you to do whatever it was to come from that, right? So, the actions are too different. Cleveland I'm happy he kind of broke it down in that way, because you define each one separately, which gives it its own identity, and they're mutually exclusive in that way. But to me, when I think about manifestation, I combine prayer in it, because that kind of makes it it's collectively exhaustive at that point now, because now I included everything together, so like,
right. So you can't lose. You got prayer, manifestation. All of it is a process. Some of it is ask. Some of it is the action and process that you were mentioning before.
Yeah, because the ask is, you're not asking for materialistic things, right? You're asking for,
I mean, sometimes they
intangibles. I mean, yeah, but you can work for those things, right? Physically, right? You can physically work for a bicycle. You can physically get a bicycle, right? Now, I think when people get it, I think kids do this often, where they'll pray for the bike and receive the bike. That is not manifesting, but I think that's where the confusion is kind of like coming from, right? It's like, I'm gonna pray for a bike that I can really go get. I think the prayer is more intangibles.
Let me step in here right quick. So I think that they are different. I think that I manifest things that I will never pray for, such as things that you cannot touch and you can't do on your own, but that you may need, like a job, right? If I can pinpoint a year and a half out, I want this, right? Granted, am I working towards it? Of course. But I feel like I've manifested rental prices, salaries, pay increases, like to the T, write them down, recited them each and every day. And in some ways, that's a power of positive thinking in one way. Whereas prayer, I would never pray for those things because in some ways, like Kev said, they're materialistic, right? These are things that you necessarily can't control, but the power of positive thinking may help to lead you in that direction. So there's some alignment. Prayer, though, even not taking Cleveland's explanation about it being a conversation, I've prayed for things in a more action-oriented way, in ways that for things I can't control. Health of folks, health of yourself, making sure that when you go outside that you're going to be all good, being covered. Those things, in my mind, that's a prayer bucket. But like materialistic things that you are in control of, but you can't pinpoint the timing, to me would fall into the manifestation bucket.
Yo, so we was talking about something pre-production about a topic that we might do in the future about things about the Black church or just growing up in church in general, right? Like just as an idea. But one of the things I noticed about church, specifically in the Black church, is even people who grew up in church and everything, they reverse what you just said, Var. Like they pray for the tangible stuff, and the intangible stuff, they just think they just got it like that. Like, so they pray for the cars, they pray for the houses. Listen, I'm never one. I hate to sound like I'm bashing or condemning the Black church because I grew up in it and I think it really helped to shape me for what I am. One of the things that I never liked is like, you'll go to a church and you'll hear a preacher say, you know, slap your neighbor and turn around 5 times and you're going to get that car when you go to the lot next week. And it's like, that's not why God's here. Like, I feel like prayer is for those intangible things. Prayer is for like those opportunities, right? Those things that you can't control. I can't manage whether or not I get an opportunity on my own. I can work and be prepared for it, but it's hard for me to say like, I'm going to create this opportunity.
Yeah, it has to come to you.
It has to come to you, right? But like, it's funny that like I can listen to, and I don't want to tell your story, but something you were mentioning is like, you didn't really grow up in the church, but the foundational principles of it and asking God for the intangible and then working for the tangible is really how it should be. And a lot of times, even people in church do the opposite. I just wanted to point that out.
And to me, that's common sense. I've learned a long time ago that my common sense is not your common sense, right? So this is just the mantra that I live by because I feel like it sure ain't. But I would feel shitty if I was asking our creator for like, my man, this car, I need that. It's like
what people do all the time. This was my question. What happens when people ask God for like their significant other? To me, that's kind of weird. Like,
are you asking for the? You have a privilege here. You have a privilege here, though.
But they got to be specific when they talking to the guy, right? They got to be like, "Yo, like, I need this person out. Can you bless me with this person?" Because, like, I think it's kind of creepy to ask God for sex. Like, I don't think you should.
Wait.
Back up. Go ahead.
Are you saying praying to God to ask him for a specific person or just a person?
I'm saying they gotta specify what they pray. Like, they gotta detail. They gotta give they got to give God a proposal. Like it can't just be like
God, I want Lala.
Yeah, like because the thing is this, they say he's all knowing and know everything, right? So if you over here asking for the person,
Lala's
but
type.
God know what you really want to do with that, that ain't like, you feel me? Like I think
but also that's the free will. All right, we're getting too far. Cleveland, you were about to say something. No, I think what you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think
I prayed for my
asking
wife.
God for asking God for the right one is different than asking God for someone specific.
Ooh,
okay,
right?
Someone,
there
right.
you go. Boom, can we get an hit the horns, my nigga? Like,
yeah, that's different.
It's a little long.
Yeah, he
Say it again.
Well, asking God for the right one is different than asking God for a specific someone. Like it's completely different.
That's what I'm talking about. It's true. Because we can go down a rabbit hole in this question alone, but I want to move us along because I think we're hitting a good stride. And the next question is, do you think manifestation is aligned to goal setting, or are they completely different as well? Because Zoe, you mentioned you look at manifestation as like you're painting your own picture, you're creating, but is it always in line with something you want in the future, or is it just like you creating your own environment around you? Like, is it always goal setting, or is it just like your creation?
I don't think it's always, but I do think it's goal setting majority of the time. And because that's what keeps us going if you're that type of person, like the go-getter type of whatever. So for example, the house, right? I felt like I went in that because you manifested or because you set the goal and you pray for it, you do everything that we just spoke of in the last 10 minutes, doesn't mean it's going to happen in the same form and fashion or as easy, or that path is going to be. So that's where I think it is goal oriented, because you're following through. It's the follow through.
So for you, good example, a home. You don't want a home for materialistic value. You want a home to be able to raise your family, raise your daughters, and have a family environment. So when you have, all right, boom, I want to buy a house. What happens in manifestation terms? What happens next? The goal is buy a house. What happens now? After that,
you figure out how to buy. Like, okay, what do I need to do? You have to figure out the steps, and then part of the steps is saving money, credit, stuff like that. But those are all the things that you're like putting into action. I was saying earlier. So
right.
you say the thought, you think about it, and now you have to figure out the how. How do I get to that? And how do I develop that and make that happen?
So all of that is happening with elbow grease, so to speak. That is you saving, you looking at homes, you doing all these things. Where does Zoe go and your thoughts take over?
What do you mean my thoughts?
Like with manifestation, there is this air of I'm thinking it, so fast forward 50 steps, it happens, right? All the things you're talking about, you did.
It becomes when you've done all that and you might hit a roadblock and then something opens up. Like we were about to quit on looking at houses and say, let's just kill it to the summertime. We then looked at it. We did our part. We had the money saved. We paid off all credit and debt and all that stuff. And we still was like striking out. That's when you're like, something else got to take in. And that's when the manifestation, like, or maybe it's the prayer. I don't know.
Yeah, see what I mean? So to me, it ends up looking like manifestation is the Halloween bag of prayer, belief, patience. It's mad shit for real. It's so much to it. So we was in Jersey and Tiff had an allergic reaction, right? What the doctor told us is that with allergic reaction, you'll never find the reason why it happened. You just know that it happened. You'll never be able to diagnose, was it detergent? Was it something you ate? Was it something you touched? You'll never know. The only thing you got to worry about is treating it. And I feel like manifestation is also one of those things, or your goals. Boom, Zoe bought a home. Well, was it the prayer? Was it the belief? Was it the manifestation? Like, what was the leading cause of the extraterrestrial things that was going on mentally that allowed that home and him to be paired? Am I making sense to y'all?
Well, Cleveland, don't we always talk about it? Cleveland, when I always like, we'll have our side conversations. I'll call him usually when I'm like, quote unquote, losing faith, or I'm losing my patience, or whatever the case may be, because I've felt like I've exerted all my energies and done what I was supposed to do on that plan or that road to whatever. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the forces, come into play, like the prayer and stuff like that, and don't lose faith. So I think, Var, you honestly said it the best. I think now I have a new definition of the manifestation, and manifestation is the Halloween bag with everything in it, but you can't leave something out. You gotta have the Snickers, you gotta have the Baby Ruth, you gotta have your sweet tarts, your Twizzlers, and your Reese's. Like, you gotta have your gummy stuff, and then you gotta have your chocolates. Like,
it's like gumbo, right?
I think for me, it starts with where the desire came from. Well, like, because to me, manifestation is so closely linked to like my godly purpose. Like, what does God want me to do? Whatever that is. So it's like, I kind of start from there. Like, that's my genesis, if you will, to determine if it's manifestation versus if it's just something that I wanted to do. Like, I start from the beginning. Like, if I want to do this just because I want to do it and I just had a thought and I did it, then I accomplished something. Doesn't mean it's negative. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It could be a good thing, but I don't relate that to manifesting something, right? When something manifests in my life, it's like, okay, I was given this thought or this idea or this concept that I think was divinely inspired. And then I did the work and I prepared. And then time came for it to come into fruition, and it happened on God's time. That's how I feel about it. So, like, it's even with Zoe with the house, but like when you look at even using Zoe's house as the example, right? Zoe wanted a home, not so he can stun on the gram, not so he could just feel accomplished, like, oh yeah, like I got a house, I'm a homeowner now. He's like, yo, I got my family, I got my girls, I want to raise them in a home. Like, I want them to have a front and a backyard. Like, these are things that I want, right? But like, that desire was founded upon something pure. It was in my opinion, it was a God-given desire. So because of that, like, that's why it manifested, so to speak, in the right time. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm gonna jump in here because it sounds like I was the only one that thought that manifesting in prayer was different. It sounded like from the consensus perspective.
I think everybody, for the most part, separated.
One leads to the other, though. Because you set the tone with that.
I think I'm the only one that said that they're intertwined. Basically,
yes, you are.
They're intertwined,
right? Yeah. Because with the bag, we're gonna use the analogy with the bag.
Okay, right back to you.
Yeah. So. I agree with Cleveland, right? And that was the point I make it when I said originally, when I led with, it's a process, not a destination, right? Manifesting is not an end goal, because the journey of what Alonzo ultimately is trying to accomplish hasn't even reached his peak yet, because he hasn't completed that mission yet, right? He's still going to have to look back in some years when it has an empty nesting egg to say, we manifested that. Like, that's it is a journey. There's no destination. Like, these are small goals to evolve the overall manifestation of what it is.
I think you're hitting on something crazy, Kev, because
you said goals earlier. Yeah. So I was trying to bring that back. Right. So it is that, right? So we use that in a real form to ultimately put ourselves in a position to accomplish when we can accomplish, and see that we've done our part. Right. Because the time is going to come and go, whether we're prepared or not. And yeah, I like how we circled that back. I like how we kind of like made that stick.
Yeah, you opened up a whole nother portal, because you're talking about using Zoe again as the example. The process, even preparation, is happening before the home is purchased. Home is purchased, that's step one. Because your goal, I think with manifestations, what Kevin's saying is, like, granted it's a process, you have to have a plan, follow through. So in Kev's mind, the goal isn't purchasing the house. The goal is following through to when the girls were outside the house, graduated, had memories, Christmases, Thanksgivings, and it's like, boom, 18, 20 years from now, you're like, purchasing this home was successful because we've raised our kids here, and that's success.
Back to the intangibles. To the intangibles that Var was talking about earlier. Is it's not about, I think it's more about the process than it is about whatever accomplishment you think you are going to accomplish. It's like, I feel like during that process, and someone said patience earlier, how important patience is in the whole process. I really think God takes his time because he's trying to fix the intangible things in us that need to be fixed within the process of getting to where we need to go. Because it's a lot of times, like, you've done the work. All right. Have you ever like factored it out? Zoe was saying this earlier. We paid off the creditors. We got our credit right. We had the money in the bank, but nothing was going right when we went to find a house. And it's like when you add in all of those factors, I should have what I want by now because
equals,
I've done everything.
Right.
This equals that.
Right.
But the X factor is, what is God trying to build in you? Like, what is he trying to change in VAR? What is he trying to change in Zoe? What is he trying to change in KV? Like, those are the things that make a difference. And that's why I disagree so highly when people take manifestation and water it down just to some simple, like, hey, I have this goal. I wanted to lose 50 pounds and I manifested it. It's like, well, nah, you went to the gym. Like,
you know what, Cleveland?
You manifested the healthy consciousness of turning your life around. So now you've done the work and you're in that direction. Now you're moving in that direction. Now, if you lost weight, you've reached a goal of continuing to maintain this healthy, conscious lifestyle that you set for yourself, so you can prevent yourself from getting hurt and sending yourself with diseases. That's what you manifested. You manifested
that's what the intangible, and that's what it's all about. Like, if you hit that goal and take a few pictures for the gram, and then literally a month later you could be 60 pounds overweight, right? Like, so it's about
that was a manifestation. That was a get rich quick scheme for real.
That was superficial.
And I was going to say, Cleveland, what you just said before Kev spoke, in real time, literally in real time, as we speak, whatever today is, it's dropping on a Friday, but at this moment, what you said applies to me. In this moment, there's something going on with me right now that I need to sit down and relinquish control right now, right? Does it require prayer? Of course it does. Can I manifest it? Maybe not. Positive thoughts will help everything. But there are times where you have to let go. Literally, Zoe had done all he could to buy the house. He did the algebra, did the math. You know what I mean? The math wasn't mathing. It's like, all right, I got the bread.
Computers wasn't puting.
They was not puting, bro.
What's missing? He said he was about to quit. And when you let go, right, knowing that you've done all that you can do, and in the midnight hour, that thing happens, that's the most beautiful part. But to Kev's point, that's not even the end. That's where it starts.
Yeah, that's not even for sure.
What did it build in you?
Yeah, like, that's the question. Like, that moment
building you.
That moment when you completed every task, and who did you have to become within that gap?
Right.
That's gonna be the most impactful transformation that you can make for the transition, because the sustainability in happiness, because what ultimately what you wanted, will have a better trajectory, right? Now, if you get in that gap, you get frustrated and you losing patience and you're losing sight, then you'll get what you asked for, but it won't have maybe the same trajectory. And I could be wrong about that. I just think that the important part is when you really have to exercise the faith part, right? When you really, to your point, or letting go, right? When you really got to exercise that part, fall in love with that part, because that's the most important part. You know, that's the part where you really get to please God in the highest way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
interestingly enough, to your point, I told Cleveland this. I have a failed manifestation story in that same vein, Kev, where back in 2013, 2014, y'all know I wanted to get to California pretty bad in a way that I just didn't know. I couldn't understand it. It was just something in me that I knew that I needed to get to California. So for a couple of years, I was actively trying to make it happen. And then in the end of 2013, the end of 2014, going into 2015, I set my sights on California with no job, with no plan. I was just like, Not that I'm just going to pack up and go, but I'm like, it's going to happen. I'm telling everybody I'm moving. And I was active in applying, but I had no hits. I was so gung ho for California, right? Got a job in April, moved in June and July. God was like, but I really wanted to say it was LA. I really wanted Los Angeles. God was like, you want California, huh? Bet. Send your ass to Santa Cruz. Man, I was in Santa Cruz watching these surfers surf with no black people in sight and being like, I mean, I did say California and I'll be damned if they ain't give me California. But I was like, this isn't where I wanted. This isn't where I saw myself. I just saw palm trees and water. And I was like, damn, well, shit, that's where I'm at. And it was like, bum, 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 bum.
Is that a fail though? Was that a fail?
Nah, it wasn't. It wasn't a fail. It was a misdirection.
Right. There was no failure. Right.
No, it wasn't a fail in real life.
Yeah.
Your request got to be specific.
That's the point. It was where I needed to be at the time.
Yeah,
that's where I needed to be. But to Zoe's point, it taught me, well, being there taught me a lot. But the action of the process taught me to be specific in your asks and not be so vague, because I feel like I manifested my trip and my move, but I was not specific.
I kind of disagree with the
I do too.
Specific.
I do too.
I don't think you gotta be specific.
I do not think you got to be specific.
With manifestation or prayer.
Nah, either one.
With either one. I think when it comes to asking God for what you want. All right, so there's a verse that is also usually misinterpreted. It says God will give you the desires of your heart, right? But that doesn't mean that like God will just give you whatever you desire. It means God will give you what to desire. So he gave you the desire to go to California, right? So you're like, I'm going to California. You aligned yourself in a way to make sure that you were prepared to go to California. You got an opportunity and you went. Right. But think about how much great stuff has happened since you've been in that specific area of California. I mean, you met your wife, bro. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like the one who will be she's your wife. You met your wife. Yeah.
That should be done
when you marry her. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think you have to be specific. I think sometimes when we get too specific, it limits. It limits what's supposed to happen in your life.
And I would say too, I'll say also because first of all, California was a great idea because you only been to Los Angeles. You never even been to different parts of California for you to have been able to manifest at a wide scale to say, hey, I'm going to go in this part of California. You only were able to create what was in your mind from which you were able to see, which was only Los Angeles. You thought that was the world. You thought that was California, right? So if you go into manifesting specifically, you limit your real opportunities realistically. And I'm piggybacking with Clay. I was saying that he said that because we're only able to see what we see, and he's able to see what he can see.
Right.
So yeah, you had the mission in your mind to go to Cali. That was great that you followed that. And I think you did great by following that. And then you've been awarded in the process. You've been tested along the process. You had to, you go through that. You go through all of that stuff. Whatever.
Now that's true. Because to me, the ultimate, the right decision was made. Obviously, I think the right decision was made. But y'all make some good points, because I'm thinking the specificity by which you're asking gives more precision for what outcome you want. But that may not always be the case, because to Kev's point, you may not even know the things that exist beyond or even around the perimeter of what you're asking.
I get specific because God got a sense of humor, and for some reason I'm his fan that he likes to do the comedy on. So I don't really.
He does. God does show Zoe a lot of funny things in his face. Like, if anybody has ever been, if y'all listen to y'all know Zoe personally, I guarantee you, if you with Zoe for at least 5 hours, somebody will fall. Something funny will happen. We will hit traffic. Something will happen that'll cause you to be like, you see everything. You catch it all. So I kind of believe you.
Yeah, I can't. Y'all different. Maybe my messaging, my radio waves of manifestation plus prayer. It's like he just joking. So I don't really. I gotta get specific. Y'all could do that vague if y'all want to.
You know what's funny though about that? I agree that all this stuff happens to Zoe, but Zoe is always saying how he needs work on patience, I feel like God is just like, give you an opportunity to exercise those muscles. Yeah, it's like Zoe always saying he need more patience. So here you go. Here's another.
Well, like what I say is, all right, so let's say I manifest, like, let's say I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna get something, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
get some what?
No, get something. Like, let's say sneakers or something, right?
I was about to say, you cleaned the kitchen and took out the trash and did the
No, right. Like, let's say
that's foreplay.
Let's say, yeah, but let's say as a kid, shut No, it is though. That's another topic
for everybody who ain't hear that. I'm gonna say it again. Cleveland said, if you wash the dishes, you take out the trash, that's foreplay.
No, it is. Telling you, facts. It's supposed to be at least. But like, all right. So let's say, like, when I was a kid, right? Like, I would do the same things: clean the kitchen, wash dishes, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then I get good grades, and I'll pray like, "Yo, like I want the latest Jordans." I get the next best player though. Like, I don't really got the grand. Like, you got the up tempos. Yeah, I get the up tempo. Sean Kemp. Like I like.
Nah, they presented like these new Horace Grants.
Yeah, you feel me? Like, it's like I'm getting Starberries or something. Like,
but so ain't that like we were talking about earlier? Like, you pray for a tangible thing. Like,
correct, but I'm just saying, like, but that maybe you're right. Maybe I'm directing it wrong, but you know, I don't know. I just always feel like because maybe I did pray for the tangible things, and I got the joke version of the tangible things. Like, I got like so because of that, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna play that game. Like, I'm not gonna, because I was too vague then. So now I'm like, let me just be real specific.
You got some disappointment trauma.
Yeah, he wanted the Dave Chappelle box set. He gave him the Ashley Larry joint. It's like I don't want this. But so, and at the top we intro talking about not only manifestation but affirmations. How do you all think that affirmations play a part into your goal setting as well? For me, affirmations play a major part because sometimes I will flip my affirmations to be the daily practice of me repeating my manifestation. So at a certain point, I wanted a certain thing. I will write down the intricate details of that thing. And every morning I would repeat it to myself. But I will also carry it in a piece of paper with me every single day. And it literally was like the thing that was helping me to carry so I can't forget what it is that I want, that I'm working towards. So every step that I take, every morning that I wake up, I am working towards this goal, these few goals. Even the things that I work on, like, you know, New Year's resolutions is the technical term that people like to put on it, but like the things you're working towards for the year or the month or the quarter, when I repeat them, to me, those are my affirmations that I am trying to bring to life, but also to, you know, psychologically seep into my brain and make sure that I don't forget it.
I'm with affirmations. Okay. I'm with them. I think affirmations, hearing positive things that you're saying to yourself out loud, mm-hmm. I think it's a beautiful thing, to be honest with you. I think the only caveat is I think it works on a sober mind with sober thoughts. And I mean that literally. Like, I think when you're clear about what you want to do and you're saying these positive things to yourself, I definitely think it charges you up towards your goal.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's a good technique to stay locked in. It's something that you really are striving to accomplish. For me, when I think of affirmations, I think of, like, if I was an adult, when I was naming myself, I would have given myself a name that was more empowering. So when I hear my name, it's like I'm being subconsciously affirming my real self into the space, right? So, but when I think affirmation, I think about it in that light, more like, you ever saw a video of a young girl in the mirror talking about how beautiful she is in the morning? I think that's affirmation. I think about like, just like, re-energizing your spirit with holistic thoughts that are going to help you raise your vibration to the highest frequency at whatever and whatever statement you need to say daily or affirm yourself daily, to do that, to be yourself at the highest point. I think it's the real goal, right? 'Cause when you could be yourself with no worries, no judgment zones and free zones, and you just feel, and that's freedom. I think that's what I think of affirmation. I think of that like in or in engaging that part, you know.
Well, if we can take a step back, I'm interested to know, do you all have practices of either manifestation or affirmations that you're willing to share in terms of like, how do you, is it daily? Is it monthly? Is it yearly? Is it quarterly? Like, do you all have those practices? You don't have to tell us your specific mantra, but how do you go about, if you do, how do you go about it?
I'll start. I'm sharing. All right, man. You know, every day, bro. You know,
every day I'm hustling.
You know, and
Beautiful.
if I'm writing and I'm putting it somewhere where I can connect with it and I can go back to it, then it's there. I'm not super like, I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna, I hate to say, I dislike using the word not disciplined at the moment, but I'm not that extreme hyper on the being affirming goals so much, right? I like to have a vision, and I like to make sure that the vision is pure and it's mine, and I like to write it down. I like to sleep on it. I like to tell like nobody about it, because then it changes my perception of it. And so I like to build a time with it, to connect with it, to make sure that it is mine, and I'll do the work right behind closed doors. So if it's like a baby, it's like you don't tell no one you're pregnant for the first 3 months, right? And same thing for me is I don't really get into sharing because I'm growing it, and once I know that it's fertile enough to talk about it, then I'll start piquing interest of supporters first, because this is my process. I know you kind of asked a quick question, but it's a little long-winded, and it's a process because there's no super details. It's big, it's high level from A to Z. Go from incubation, then targeting supporters, because you want to build it, right? And you tell the wrong people, they'll, you know, and I'm not superstitious, but I feel like energy is important,
they can
right?
put some shit on it.
And then you might have a different thought process behind it. So now it's not really worth working on anymore, maybe, or maybe there's being deterred or whatever the energy that wasn't necessary. So then once it's built, it has a strong foundation, then you share. For me, for looking for criticism, because you're so solid in the work and the research that is bulletproof in your mind, but now you're just open to criticism because it's just only going to help elevate the idea more now at this point. So you welcome it. You have a different approach to criticism. While early stages, you may be more defensive with it, insecure, you're not ready. So you gotta be sensitive with that. And then, you know, when we talk about manifestation, now it's like the momentum of things happening at the right time, the momentum of, you know, the right people, the right timing, like the ideas of manifestation that we kind of highlighted earlier. They are affirmations of you're right on the right path, you're doing the right thing. And I'm breathing at the highest frequency because I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm sharing, doing the thing that I think that I'm in line to do. That's kind of how I look at the process of manifestation with affirmation. You know, affirmation is a practice I don't have besides working out and eating healthy. Those are my really conscious, but some conscious things that I try to do, because I feel like if I'm treating myself great holistically, then whatever I put out is essentially going to be able to reap those benefits as well. Again, it's not detailed, but I think just being a great person as best you can be is, you know, the goal. And then you could treat yourself well, you treat other people with respect and well, and they all things come together.
I think that you presented a process with steps and very accurate precision as to when you open yourself up and when you kind of keep it to yourself and watch and let it grow. I think it is detailed. I think that's pretty detailed. Maybe not to you because you've been doing it for so long, but I feel like that's pretty solid in terms of like you painted a good picture as to how you make it work. Cleveland, how about you? Do you mind sharing about the things that you pinpoint, how you manifest, how you affirm, things of that nature?
So for affirmations, they kind of fall into 3 buckets for me. Like, so every morning,
Money,
it's a
power,
daily.
respect, key to life.
Yeah, but no, they fall in those 3 buckets, and not money, power, respect. They fall into 3 buckets, and I do it daily. And one bucket is I tell myself like who I am. The other bucket is I remind myself of like my strengths. And then the last bucket is I try to build up my weaknesses or things that I know that I want to be stronger in. I tell myself that I'm getting stronger in that every day. So whatever it is that I need to build, I'm getting stronger in X every day. I'm getting stronger in X every day. And it's like the starting off with who I am kind of helps me to appreciate like where I am right now. Like it helps me to be present. Like, you know what I mean? Like God loves you. God chose you. You know, you got beautiful parents. You have beautiful children. You know, you have a beautiful wife. And then the other bucket of reminding yourself of what you're good at. It's like, you know, God's giving you the ability to speak well. He's giving you the ability to do X, Y, Z. And then the last part is, you know, the building process. But that's what I do each day. The affirmations are in those 3 buckets.
I have one, just one thing that I say each and every day. Here's my affirmation. I'm rich, bitch. It's all about you. You want to share your process?
I mean, I write everything down. So I make a checklist. I do wake up and tell myself who I am, and it's usually ends in me saying I am whatever you say I am, and if I wasn't, why would you say I am? In the paper, the news every day I am. Radio don't even play my jam. That's what the hell I say. Like, I mean, that is part of it. I just kind of accept it, but I think everything is like a list for me. Like I write everything down. If I don't check it off, then I didn't complete it. And
checklist also a fire aspect for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's like my like I'll still walk around with my little notepad or the braid.
I can attest to that. Zoe, we literally had like party things that we had to knock off for the party. Zoe was writing everything on like no matter whatever he can find. Paper towels, folded paper, and he literally like crossed it off. And I kept asking him because Zoe lives in Jersey clearly, and he fronted everything. I was like, "Yo, how much money do I owe you?" He was like, "Hold on, I ain't crossed items 6 and 7 off the list yet. Like when we get these wings, I'm gonna let you know." I'm like, "Yo, but you know how much it costs." He was like, "Nah, let me." And literally, when the party was starting, he was like, "All right, we got everything." And we bust the numbers down as the party was going. But I could really attest to so having checklists and really sticking to those things.
Fact. That's really it for me. Like checklists and prayer, man. Just try to see how I can do it. And that's just I'm simple with it. Like I don't try to get into detail, try to think about nobody else. And I just think about what I can do, what I want, how I can get it. And then when I'm there or when I'm on the right path.
So here's something I want to get to, and I'm hoping this is what I think is going to be. Negative thoughts, right? Period. But we always think about manifestation as a process of positive thoughts and repetitive thinking and affirming yourself and looking yourself in the mirror, making post-it notes, having your goals, like Kev mentioned, the goal and the follow through. How do you all continue to make this trek of manifestation, prayer, affirmations, and keep the negative thoughts at bay? Like, how do you do that?
I don't. I have the negative thoughts, but it's like, for me, it's a TV show, like, with the little angel and the little devil, like on your shoulder. So like, I have the thoughts regardless, but then I know that's not productive. So I just be like, all right. And I like, that comes with like a self-discipline or some type of self-correction.
Because if you believe in manifestation, you can also believe in you believe in the concept of thoughts become things, right? Your thoughts are often more powerful than you know. It doesn't just work in one way. Like I think Kev or Cleveland mentioned manifestation being rooted in divinity. Yes and no, perhaps. You can manifest terrible things too, I would imagine, but the same thing can work for your thoughts. Can those thoughts that you have that are not positive end up working against you as the positive thoughts manifestation are working for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be consequences to every reality or every decision. There's always going to be a reaction, right? An effect, rather. But to answer your question, I think Zoe hit it on the head, and I would kind of went in that direction and say, just thinking, to be able to be at a highest frequency, you have to convert all negativity into positive frame mindset. You have to, and you have to look at everything as just either a challenge to lead to a outcome that you decided that you wanted to have, and take your losses as lessons. Just having a positive mindset all the way around can diffuse negative behaviors and thoughts, because they're inevitable, right? Sometimes you deal with negativity with the people that you are with the most, realistically, right? So how do you take that idea and make it into a positive? Because otherwise it can get in the way of creating a positive outcome, right? Obviously.
Right.
But
I love what you said.
Yeah,
like
you got to be in the moment of that.
The conversion of the inevitable, the inevitability of the fact that you will have negative thoughts.
Yeah, we're human. We're all human, right?
Right. But actively converting them into positive ones, right? Like repurposing, like, yeah, I hear you. Give me a second.
Yeah, and when you need a second, ask for it, because if you need time to convert, right, then that's the mastery, right? Because it's not feeding into the pressure of the time. It's buying into the needing more clarity to better align how you move now, right? And I think, man, you must each decide in your heart and how much to give, and don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for he loves a person who gives cheerfully. So you gotta know what your powers are. You gotta know where your positions are. You have to know, okay, if this is the goal that I want to accomplish, how much am I going to give into the negative energy realistically, right? And I kind of just use that real quick as a framework to say, you got to be able to like realize that the negativity is not really negativity. It's to deter you from what you're really trying to accomplish. And I end right there. So
it's a part of the design.
It has to be.
Yeah, the design of, right, you have to overcome, right? There are going to be yin and yang.
You have to
achieve, you have to overcome. And these thoughts perhaps play into the design by being there to be like, hey, my man, come here. Don't go that way. Come here. Come this way right quick. And you have to be like, nah, bro, I'm on this track. Like walking home from school when you got the kids that might want to beat you up if you go the wrong way. It's like, you know what? That is a shortcut, but nah, my book bag is fire. My sneakers is brand new. I don't got time to fight today. I'm just going to take the long way. Let's go home that way.
Well,
how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you can say that.
No, go ahead, Kev.
No, I was going to say, like, you could look at it that way too. I mean, more or less, right? Like when using that analogy of misdirection, sometimes it's not so much as you have to be so tunnel vision into the goal or the idea, because sometimes the negativity, it's only negative how you perceive it, number one, because not all the time the person who's shooting the negativity is really trying to be negative, right? In fact, they'll tell you they're being real, right?
Real, right? Yeah, facts.
Mm-hmm.
So protect you.
So you have to be able to look at and receive it and be able to discern how this makes sense, right? In keeping the positive mindset intact, right? Knowingly that you're running up Route 1, you're going north, but this thing's saying detour, but maybe you should stop and think about why it's a detour, right? And use that opportunity to reflect on your journey. Like, is really what I'm trying to put. I don't want to make it sound like negativity is always going to be a like do not enter sign as much as this, because sometimes people will tell you some things and then you need that negativity so you can kind of rechannel your direction of how you wanted to process that to begin with. And you know, so it's
and Cleveland, I'm gonna get to you in a second. I think that Kevin said another good point. There's a difference between negative thoughts, whether they're intrinsic or external. Sometimes people are far more susceptible to people telling them things from the outside, and it may be too early. They might not know how to take it, but it may influence the way that they operate. To me, that usually gets blocked out, but I filter what's the best way to put it? So I have thoughts that are not always positive, but I'll label those as like reality. Right? Because I have to filter that out of like, you know, the logical, what's possible, what history has taught me versus not miracles, but like having faith in the fact that certain things can happen without me controlling anything. And that's the part that's both scary and affirming when it all's going down, because like Zoe was saying, the good and the bad, it's like, it's not bad. It's more real or logical, but that is what is the thing that kind of I have to battle with.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's dope though. But that's when you know that you reach that part, right? When you have to make that, when you can feel that you have to make a real decision, right? And it's almost like, well, you're at the door, now you have to knock, you know, and now it's like, wow, you know, you think about that, right? So no, I think that's dope. I think that's dope that you brought that up that way.
Go ahead, Jermaine.
Yeah, I think, man, I think the way everybody framed it is perfect. It's like negative thoughts come and you have to manage them. I mean, even the way you pose the question, how do you keep it at bay? That's the thing. You have to keep it at bay. You have to keep it at bay. You got to manage your negative thoughts. And I think one way that helps me to manage my negative thoughts, and know that you don't always win too. I think it's just to be real, like you don't always win against your negative thoughts. But one way that I do manage them, no. One way that I do manage them is first thing I do is I ask myself, like, is it true? Like, starting with that question, like, is what either I'm saying to myself or someone else is saying about me, is it true? Regardless of how it's being said. If it is true, then cool. It can be true, but that doesn't mean it's the whole story. That just means it's an aspect of it. And that's what helps me to keep going. Like, yeah, what they said is true, but if I magnify that, then I'm robbing myself of everything else that is happening in this moment, everything else that is coming from this process, because I want to harbor this negative thing and harp on this negative thing that's happening. And I think if you let negativity win, like you were saying, like, can it build something negative in your life? Absolutely. Even if you accomplish what you want to accomplish, you haven't enjoyed the process, and it changes the way you approach it. It's like if you see someone you want to talk to in a club and you're like, I know she's going to say no to me when I ask her number. I know she's going to say no, but I got to do it. I know she's going to say no. Hey, you want my number? No, you don't want my number. All right, walk away. All sad. And she says yes. She gives you the number. You've now robbed yourself of that whole experience and that buildup of like, yeah, I'm about to get this number. I know I'm going to get this. It's like it changes your impact. It changes your impact, man. When you let negativity win, even if you do what you said you were going to do, the impact is always lessened when you let negativity drive, so to speak.
Okay.
For me, like I have negative thoughts, but I just don't let them affect me. Like I talk to y'all to clear it. Like, yo, am I tripping?
That's true.
But I have them all the time. And I also know it doesn't get me anywhere, but they're just thoughts to me. You know what I mean? Like I know I have tons of negative thoughts, but now I also know I can't really do that. Like I can't put that in action. I'm a little bit different with that. But you do rob yourself. But Cleveland, there was a season in which Var and I did go to places and say, yo, you ready to get played tonight?
Absolutely.
And then we didn't. We still enjoyed the experience because we did a 180 and flipped the script. And now when we got the number, it's go time.
I'm going to say this though, like, you know, to y'all, not defense, but in saying it was more of a psychological diversion to allow y'all to go in there and just shoot up that 1,000 shots without being conscious. It was like, hey, we're gonna go in the gym and just miss a couple shots, right?
Right.
But you guys are hoopers though. Hoopers though, right? So it's not necessarily a true statement. It's a good psyche to have. I think as a premier shooter, you have to be able to have a level of forgetfulness when you miss, right? Facts. And that's what you guys went into the game. Like you already took the bleeding off by saying, hey, I'm gonna go and miss a couple shots and I'm cool because I'm gonna shoot for 40 anyway, right? But I think Cleveland's point was more or less people actually believe that they're not going to get the number, right? They believe that this is not going to happen. Like you guys don't believe that. You guys are just trying to save face by saying, hey man, you know, we're gonna go 40 tonight and we're gonna miss a few. You cool for that? Cool.
But we hit 32.
That's what I'm saying.
Definitely saving face.
So that's a soft
that's so true, bro. Because there are people who don't align to positive thinking or confidence at all. And there's a big difference between trying to manifest your life and your goals from people who feel doomed from the start. Right? Like Kev, you mentioned you muster up the energy and you end up at the door and your only decision is to knock. There's some people who don't leave the crib. You know, you have to leave the house, walk down the stairs, get in the car, turn the car on, turn the music on, drive, park, get out the house, get out the car, go to the door. And then, so it's mad steps getting to the door. But there are some people who don't leave the house. And that is where you understand that, like, this is powerful, right? There's a lot of confidence, patience, and a lot of aspects that go into this process of what we just call manifestation. It's not a one size fits all. It's not prayer. But if you want to, they're very closely aligned, but it's a daily practice. It's a process, like Kev said, and it is something that I feel is very powerful. But I think in use with conjunction with patience and prayer and belief, it's a powerful combination.
I'd say real quick that if you can't get out the house, you meditate, you pray.
Shut up.
You meditate, you pray on just other motivational vehicles is gonna get you. You know, like, and that's kind of where you can utilize certain tools and powers to. You got to be able to be honest with yourself, with your shortcomings, right? And if you can't get up and you need support getting up off the couch, that is, then you got to be honest with yourself about that, right? And that's what you have to do.
All right. So with that said, do you all think we were successful in being able to discuss manifestation, affirmations, and leave our audience with a better understanding of how to gather these thoughts and reach these goals?
I think there's one thing missing.
What's missing?
I think the action items. I feel like we should give them some very clear, actionable items.
Well, I thought that we did, but you can if you want to. No. In terms of, because I think what's more important in terms, because you all described your process of manifestation and your affirmations and how you all do it. But I think the most important thing is talking to each other about how to keep these other thoughts at bay that are not productive too. But by all means, if you have a couple of actionable items that you want to share, like, let it go for real.
Envision it first. Spend meditating time, praying time. If you have an idea, if you have a thought and you feel real moved by it, your spirit feels real moved by it, and your frequencies changed after that thought at a high good level, then write it down first, foremost. Put it somewhere where you can see it. Pray on it, meditate on it, spend time mentally on it, and then it'll happen. I can't really go into the process because I'm not him, and I don't really know everyone's process. But I'll tell you, the first start is to put it somewhere where you can see it and be around it as much as possible.
Put it in your orbit. Put it in your orbit.
I think the first things first is when it comes to manifestation. I've said this a few times during the episode, but that prayer time and talking to God and understanding like that divine inspiration for whatever it is that you want to do, and being firm on that is first and foremost importance when it comes to manifestation. I feel like you can be chasing a lot of things that won't leave you satisfied, but if you start with that being the proper source, then it'll have you in a good space. That's my personal opinion, my personal experience. And in terms of affirmations, I'm all about it. I think remind yourself of who you are, remind yourself of where you've come from, remind yourself of where you're growing. Like if you have some areas where you may feel deficient, remind yourself of where you're growing. And those things will definitely help you towards your outcome.
All right. Zo, did you want to chime in? I think we did enough, but if you...
Well, I think we did. I was agreeing with you. I thought we gave the actionable items and kind of like, set our piece or whatever the case may be. I'm good so far.
All right. With that said, let's get into your favorite segment.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Hey, yo, Zo knows this. Zo knows that. So light skin. Zo stay black. Yes, I stay black. That is correct. And I'm about to get real black on y'all right now. We're going to start off Zo knows a little different. Because what Zo does know is that we've had countless episodes and shout outs for Black businesses, Black support, Black love, Black women. However, we are not receiving that same energy back. Now, me personally, I've had a lot of people ask me, yo, can you support? I got this brand that is this gear, this paraphernalia. Can you listen to my pod? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I do it. Can you donate to the children? I do it, right? I give people, and I try to give people the same energy that I want back, like treat people the way you want to be treated. I'm saying that to say, I need our Juxtaposition League and all the people who say that, yo, I listen to the pod, or I'm about to listen to the pod, or yo, y'all, it's dope what y'all doing. I need y'all to do two things that's major right now. I'm challenging y'all. I'm challenging our fans and our quote unquote supporters. One is to actually listen to the pod. Even if you just turn it on, you washing the dishes, you washing your car, you taking a crap, I don't care. Just turn the pod on for a minimum of 15 minutes. You probably won't be paying attention. And then all of a sudden you hear us laugh and bug out. And then now you're going to pay attention. You're going to rewind. You're going to, dang, what's so funny? I want to laugh too. Right?
X.
So I'm challenging y'all, all the people that I support, to make sure that they support us the way they say they do, and don't just fluff it, really do. And the second thing is, another way to support is by buying some Jux merch. T-shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve, white tee, black tee, it doesn't even matter.
It's fire, if I can say so myself. It's
no,
great
it really
quality.
Is. Y'all watch the YouTube. If you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, go watch the YouTube. You see myself and Brother Fauntleroy's shirts that we got on. And part of supporting buying Jux shirts is going to the Fauntleroy brand to buy it. You know what I mean? Go ahead and say, what's the site?
Fauntleroy.store, FAUNTLEROY.STORE. And if you click at the top, you see Juxtaposition Collection. That's where we are.
So you can get both. You can get the Fauntleroy brand and you can get the Juxtaposition brand stuff. We just want y'all to support. It don't take a picture, send it to us. We'll post y'all. Y'all be on the next episode in our post. And we'll do that all week. If you guys buy the shirts, you get the shirts, you wear them, post it, send us the picture. But we really need y'all to kick it up into high gear for us. That's the first order of business before anything. Because I sat back in my closet as I'm unpacking finally in my new house that they talk about. And I looked and I said, man, I got a lot of clothes and gear from all these brands of personal people that I know. And these same personal people don't have any Jux gear.
Mm-mm.
That's a problem to me. So I'm challenging y'all. That's the first one. All right. So challenge.
I'm gonna need Do you all agree? Because I think he's making a fantastic point, if I can say so myself. Cleveland, do you agree to what Brother Williams is kicking right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. I think supporting, especially by listening, is important. I mean, you can turn this on whatever streaming platform is your preference. Apple Podcasts. You can go Juxtaposition.Pod.
And if you're listening
Spotify,
in here,
YouTube,
just go tell somebody. That's all.
Yeah, share it.
Just go tell somebody.
Share it.
Even if you feel that we're not interested and boring, play it for your baby to go to sleep. Just play it. Just log in.
I don't know about your comments. I don't know. We should be playing it for babies.
The baby is none the wiser.
They don't know that little. They just whenever we play the
they don't know that.
Well, then play the motivational moment or something like that. Okay, we got plenty of things for the children. Yes,
we got hits.
You ain't gotta. You could X mine out, but Pulpit Poppy, you got that. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to say that as the first order of business with Zoe knows. Second, Lakers got Rondo. It's gonna get really weird and interesting in this season. They're stacking the team, but I got a weird feeling. I hope and want them to win, but it's so weird that we just never seen stuff like this work.
In terms of being top heavy like this?
Yeah. I mean, they're not even top because they got 2 starting point guards, so they're not both going to start.
Nah, so you got LeBron, you got AD, you got Westbrook, you got Rondo, who's a champion.
Rondo's not going to start, though.
No, for sure. I'm just talking about the names, so to speak. I have great faith.
I do too because of the multiple positions and where they play, but it's just like it's weird, bro.
And DeAndre Jordan, I think.
And you got Carmelo. You forgot Melo.
No, I say Melo.
Oh, you did? Okay. Yeah. So I mean, it's weird. So shout out to the Lakers. We'll see what happens. NFL season starting this week. I don't know if everybody's still boycotting or not. I just accepted the reality that Cap is saying he done.
Eagles in 4.
Oh nah, you bugging. You bugging.
4 wins?
Yeah, 4 wins for the season. 4 out of 16.
Did they name they starting QB yet?
Yeah, it's Jalen Hurts.
Is it Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah, it's the dude. It's the dude who be doing the commercials for Onyx. That's who.
I forgot about him.
He on everything. If you want to win, you put Jalen Hurts.
We need him to do a Jux promo. Tell him to buy some merch. That's what we need.
I'm about to. We're gonna Google him, yo. He about to do it for us. So next, this is we had the all-white party. It was very, again, a happy birthday to Brother Fauntleroy.
Appreciate it.
We want to say a RIP to Michael K. Williams.
Yeah, man.
That was weird. That was crazy. Caught me off guard. He's been in shows like The Wire, Boardwalk Empire, Law and Order features, whole bunch of other stuff.
Lovecraft County.
Yes. New Yorker. And for y'all who don't know, that's the dark-skinned guy who acts that has the scar across his face. And I'm pretty sure y'all know because ain't too many people walking around like that. So RIP to him. And one thing that happened over the last week since our last recording was the hurricane. So we had Hurricane Ida, and to all the folks down south, New Orleans, praying for y'all, hoping everything FEMA does their job, President, everybody else, kicks in the high gear and takes care of y'all. But the leftovers, so to speak, of Ida came strong too. They was like lasagna, like it's just better the second day. That joint came and hit the Northeast. And
if you seen that crazy. You see that rat basking
doing the backstroke.
It was Michael Phelps.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
Ratatouille Phelps, right? Yeah. I'm like, so it was crazy. You seen the subways crazy. Cars underwater, people having to get rescued. Just wild.
Police having to get rescued.
Yeah, trying to save other folks. It was just a lot. The Northeast got hit, and it's still, as Pulpit Poppy said earlier, he wasn't even able to travel down to join us in our festivities with the inconvenience and the with the travel. The trains were all out of whack. Certain lines shut down. So this hurricane was real, and we want everyone, hopefully, send prayers out to those who were affected, and those who were not, do your due diligence to help give those lending hands to those who were affected.
Facts.
And go buy some Jux gear.
Buy some Jux gear. You might as well keep the balls, though. Get this one out of here.
Yes. So we want to ask God to grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can. Some say is manifestation, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
Hallelujah.
Is there a heart? Is there a
And that has been episode 53 of the Juxtaposition Podcast.
You got to have love in your heart.
We'll see y'all next week.
Here's a house for